I die, Horatio. The potent poison quite o'ercrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England, but I do prophesy the election. Lights on Fortinbras.
This past year, I've watched some sad movies and shows, read some sad books, and had some sad things happen to me. I've been doing my best to process it all, and I decided to create this video to help me understand what I've been feeling. The question I want to answer is, why should we watch sad stories? Before I get started, I should warn you that I will completely spoil some shows and a book. For reference, I'll be looking at Devilman Crybaby, Dune Messiah, and the 1997 anime adaptation of Berserk. If you have not seen or read these, I recommend that you do so before watching the rest of this video. Akira Fudo loses everything. A demon devours his parents and masquerades as his mother. An angry mob murders the girl that he loves. At the very end, Akira's best friend reveals himself to be none other than Satan, and after a battle for the fate of the earth, Akira is killed by his former friend. Paul Atreides loses everything. Political dissidents seek to overthrow him. A botched assassination attempt takes his eyes. His wife dies during childbirth. At the very end, he gives up his empire and walks out into the desert, never to be seen again. Guts loses everything. His only true friend betrays him. His companions in the Band of the Hawk are devoured by the apostles of the God Hand. He loses his left arm and right eye. At the very end, the woman he loves is ravaged while he is helpless to stop it. Each of these characters suffers through unimaginable tragedy, and it breaks them. As viewers, I do not believe that it is possible for us to not share some of their pain. Experiencing these stories is not pleasant. So why do I still find these stories beautiful? The Greek philosopher Aristotle claimed that experiencing strong emotions through art produces something called catharsis. This has typically been interpreted to mean a purging of emotion. Tragic art causes us to feel pain and sadness so that we can rid ourselves of the pain and sadness that has accumulated in us through the experience of the many tragedies in our own lives. Here is the passage in question. A tragedy, then, is the imitation of an action that is serious and also as having magnitude complete in itself, and language with pleasurable accessories, each kind brought in separately in the parts of a work, in a dramatic, not in a narrative form, with incidents arousing pity and fear, wherewith to accomplish its catharsis of such emotions. I believe there is some truth to this. Art provides an outlet for emotion, both for the artist and the observer. Art, whether a book, show, or movie, can help us find ways to express feelings we don't understand and can't escape. For this reason alone, I think art is invaluable. But this is not all that art does. Stories such as Devilman Crybaby, Dune Messiah, and Berserk do more than provide a means for us to understand and rid ourselves of emotion. They show us how to live with it. After watching the bloodbath that is the end of Berserk, if we wait until after the credits, the screen fades to black, but immediately transitions to a shot of a forge, full of glowing coals, far from being quenched. There is still life and heat. Recall the opening shot of the show, a blacksmith working hot iron into the form of a sword. That sword is now complete, ready to be taken up and used. The sword is a symbol of hope. It has been beaten and broken by fire and hammers, but in the end it has emerged strong, sharp, and deadly. Dune Messiah concludes with Paul finally free. Though he has lost his family, power, and place in society, he has at last escaped the curse of prescience. At last he cannot see, and thus he is free to pursue his own life as he pleases, blind to fate and destiny. Devilman Crybaby closes with tears, the tears of Satan as he weeps over the body of his friend, realizing that he is alone in the world. Though evil has triumphed, evil has gained nothing. In each of these stories, the tragic experiences of the characters change them. The same is true of us. Our tragic experiences cause us to grow as people, or they can stifle our growth. The role of pain and suffering in art is to provide a sort of fertilizer to ensure that our pain and suffering do not break us, but rather shape us in such a way that we come out stronger for it. Does tragic art always accomplish this? No. Will it work for everyone? Of course not. I am not trying to say that tragedy in art in any way lessens or dampens the pain in our own lives. Art will not necessarily affect how we feel about our own particular tragedies. Rather, or perhaps more importantly, art has the ability to affect how we react to and recover from tragedy. We cannot achieve emotional growth and maturity without proper stimulus. There are some things we can never know without tears being shed. And even though it hurts, even though the world may seem pointlessly cruel, there is always something to be gained from the pain. We only become stronger by overcoming adversity. And by becoming stronger, we become better equipped to deal with tragedy, provided it does not break us first. And here's where tragic art shines. The role of tragic art is to provide us with adversity that we are able to overcome. The adversity we experience in art will not break us. Instead, it can fuel our growth so that we are better equipped to overcome the adversity we invariably find in our own lives outside of art. Even though tragic stories cause us pain and tear us open, they are invaluable for human flourishing. We cannot hide from pain, and we cannot escape it. It will always find us. What we can do is face it on our own terms and learn from it. Without saying a word, Guts takes the sword and walks out the door, an expression of unyielding determination on his face, ready to overcome whatever obstacle lies in his path. While this closing sequence does absolutely nothing to resolve the horrors we saw just moments before, it tells us that the story is not over. At the very least, Guts is still alive, and where there is life, there is hope.